Before the Tacoma, before the 4Runner, before trucks became these huge luxury vehicles, there was this, the Toyota pickup truck. And this one has had a hell of a life. So this is my cousin's 1980 Toyota pickup truck, and it's probably one of the coolest vehicles that he has in his yard right now. If you've been around on the channel for a while, one of the first projects on this channel was his 1985 GMC that is actually sitting right over there, but he also has this. So Toyota brought these trucks to America in the 70s, into the 80s, and eventually this is what became the Tacoma. In other markets, especially Japan, it was called the Toyota Hilux. So I pronounced it incorrectly. It's Hilux. I'm sorry. Which had a SUV variant later on, and then they had the truck, and they actually had some pretty cool 4-door variants of this truck too. Some research that I've done, this really helped push the narrative that small trucks can be just as good as big trucks with big V8s and wide stances.
I wish someone would call me Big Dog. I wish someone would call me Big Dog.
These trucks were known for just not dying, almost being a cockroach and wanting to live forever. As you'll see with this one, it has been through a lot and it's continuing to go. There's plenty of videos on the internet of people absolutely destroying these vehicles. They just won't die. Throwing them in the ocean, dropping them from a crane. Obviously this one hasn't gone that far, but it has been through hell and back. Now, one thing I was curious about is why did they decide to call this the Toyota pickup in North America, but not in other markets? And that's because they thought that that would be just more direct for the American buyers. I can understand that, I guess. However, I want to talk about this engine. This is the 20R. This is a 4-cylinder engine with about 90 horsepower, 170 foot-pounds of torque, maybe 177, somewhere around there. To this day, it's probably lost a few foot-pounds of torque and a few horsepower. As you see, this engine is very wet. Is that truly wet? Yeah, that's wet. It's wet. These engines are incredibly reliable. Cody has put a new carb on it, it looks like. Other than that, he hasn't really done any other modifications that I know of. There is a lot of wiring under here that I have no idea what it could be. That is something that would be very interesting to find out what a lot of this is. Lots of cobwebs in here, but the 20R 4-cylinder is a very notorious engine for being super reliable. And the fact that this one is still going to this day with what I know it's been through is quite awesome. All right, we're gonna switch to handheld now because there are some pretty quirky things about my cousin's truck. First, let's talk about these tube doors. I think this is an awesome addition that he's done. He does have the normal doors that he can retrofit back onto the truck, especially during winter or when it's raining really hard outside. You know, he has retrofitted some side mirrors here, just kind of like you would do on a Jeep Wrangler. To open them, you just pull this latch here, you hit this latch. We go for a drive in this later, you'll see. It was a very freeing experience that I thoroughly enjoyed. There are holes in the floorboard. You can see it's pretty rusted. There is a street sign of some sort that is being used to cover up a hole. It looks like he's gonna need another one soon. The gas pedal, there is no pedal anymore. It's just that rod. Interesting. I haven't looked very deeply into this truck until just now and noticed, wow, there's some interesting things happening here. You have this GT Grant, I think that's Grant. Yep, Grant steering wheel. This is the original shifter, which is cool. The dash on this one is obviously in needing some assistance. It's pretty bad. This is actually metal right here, and this is the dash. I think that he is gonna eventually end up redoing this. It is a tight squeeze in there. When we go for the ride, you'll see what I mean. There are some interesting fabrication things that have happened here, like this diamond metal from like a toolbox that was put on here because, you know, this truck has a lot of body rust. These huge tires, I think that there is maybe like a leveling kit on this. He wants to put a lift on it. He wants to lift this little truck even more, but he's got these big tires on it that actually used to be on his GMC over there. He does have the toolbox, got a sliding window. The roof has seen better days. You see what I mean by the body has a lot of rust, especially like when we get here by this back tail light. I mean, that's literally a hole. Actually, that might be Bondo or something. I'm not sure. This tail light, it's got a hole in it, tons of rust here. I do love the tailgate and that it has like these tie downs, even on the side here too. But these basically, you flip those out on each side and the tailgate comes down. He has a retrofitted bumper there. It's like just a tube. And it looks like the lettering used to be red, or maybe that this tailgate is from a red truck. I'm not sure. We got holes in the bed. You can kind of see the color of what this truck used to be. Factory. I'm assuming that is factory paint. That like beige tan color. It does have a bed liner here. The bed's not like totally bad. This light is intact. This side looks a lot better than the other side when it comes to rust. Look how small this fuel door is. It's so tiny. Look at that cap. So tiny and very black. There we go. And we have some pretty intense weathering right here around the windshield, which I think he's gonna try to get replaced. There used to be an antenna here. He yanked it out and put some steel plates. Very customizable. It's a very customizable truck if you know how to fabricate and do things yourself. Comparing this, which is same decade as his GMC over here, which is a massive truck. Even if you take away the huge lift and the big tires, just how wide and long this is compared to the small little Toyota here. The sad thing is these trucks are becoming even harder to find, especially ones that run and haven't been totally rusted through or picked apart. Typically, if you do find one, they're still gonna be very expensive and you're gonna have to put a lot of work into them, which is very unfortunate with how cool I think these little trucks are. And I think that these would be a great truck to learn how to drive stick, or a little truck if you needed to haul things around here and there that wouldn't use a lot of gas. It's something that you can put around town. Also have kind of as like a hobby truck where you can work on it, test your skills, and learn things that you don't know, like myself. Before we go to the portion where we take a ride in this beast, I wanted to show everyone this little stamp here that this truck was manufactured in October of '79. And something really cool that Cody showed me is this right here. This fuse box is in partial Japanese. Fuses that actually go, I don't know how to take this off. I learned that the fuses that actually go into this truck are like little bulbs and not your normal fuses you see in cars of today, which I thought was pretty cool.
If you're new here, my name is Tyler and this is No Idea Automotive. This channel is basically me learning more about cars as I go, working on my own stuff, making mistakes, figuring things out, and meeting other people who are doing really interesting stuff in the car world. I'm definitely not an expert, and that's kind of the whole point. I really just enjoy cars, I want to understand them better, and I like bringing people along as I figure that out. So if that sounds like the kind of thing that you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this content.
That's sprinkle.
Not sprinkle.
About to see all 90 horsepower. All 90 of them. This little horse is about to be neighing. Go 0 to 60 and eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't fast, but...
No, we're going 35.
Is the speedometer even right?
Oh yeah, well it's like 5 off.
Oh, well, that makes sense. So what's your favorite thing about this truck?
Stick shift.
Stick shift?
Makes it fun. You have complete control. If it does something wrong, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And it just feels, I don't know, feels like how it should be.
I also like the way the stick shift looks.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah, that's nice. I like the green.
Plus, it keeps you from being lazy.
That is true.
Everybody wants to get in their car, get on their phone. At least with this, at least until you get up to speed, you kind of can't be on anything else.
I gotta say, my favorite thing is, one, how simple it is. And the tube doors. The tube doors are definitely a nice touch.
And it shifts so smoothly.
I was gonna say, it seems like it shifted like pretty well.
Everything's smooth.
Oh, look at that Jeep over there.
Yeah. It's got no doors on it. And I could do the like leave the door off completely, but I also ride my kid around. Plus it's impact protection for if somebody were to T-bone me, I guess.
Yeah, I would not want to know what it's like to be T-boned in this.
There's no airbags.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't offer that feature in 1980 apparently.
If you went straight no doors, I feel like I would fall out of this with how narrow this is.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Pretty shoulder to shoulder.
There's not a lot of room in here. Oh man, look at that.
Step side, I mean, there's no air conditioning. Like, there's heat, but it's not even what I would call heat. There's a squirrel cage fan down there that just blows heat off the engine into the cab.
So yeah, this is so that you basically control the heat stuff with this?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
What you see is what you get. It has cool. As you can see, the AC, we don't have that option.
Wow, that's crazy that they just leave the switch off, but they still show it up here.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey, that was the 70s and 80s for you, I guess. Wow, they really want to put it out there. That's worse than a blank switch. That's you get a no switch. This is an ashtray.
Oh, yeah, I got everything.
Nice.
Ashtray. I did add a manual choke instead of a electric choke.
Also, this had an electric choke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I put a lever carburetor, which is the best carburetor ever for 20 Rs and 22 Rs. I changed out the ammeter, which is not even hooked up.
I was going to say, does it
But your
work?
oil, you know, this is in kg. My horn is
That little button over there?
This is a Grant steering wheel. So.
Yeah, like taking that curve right there, I feel like if I could just fly out of it, but the door was no door there. And I'm assuming this is where a speaker used to be?
Yeah, which this I'm gonna just do over the whole dash. Take this out, fiberglass it, because I clearly don't have a speaker there.
And that's metal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your vents, your defrost vents.
Man, trucks were so small back in the day. I mean, I have a pretty decent like leg room, but like dash is so tight.
And there's not a lot of dash. There ain't no computers and stuff up in there. Also, you put your foot out there and just get cool air blowing.
Yeah.
So nice.
It is really relaxing to have the vehicle that's like, you have a lot of freedom. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video on this 1980 Toyota pickup. If you liked this type of content, please hit subscribe, hit that like button if you liked this video. To my subscribers, if this is the type of content that you'd like to see on a regular basis, please let me know, because I enjoy learning about older vehicles of all ages really. I'd love to bring more knowledge to people who have maybe never heard of a 1980 Toyota pickup. But yeah, this has been No Idea Automotive. Learn what you don't know, and I'll see you in the next one.